Hey everyone, welcome back to Coding Content, your favorite channel where we navigate the wild, wonderful, and sometimes infuriating world of programming. Today we're diving into a classic conundrum that every programmer has faced at least once. The infamous, "it works on my machine" issue. Ah yes, the bane of every developer's existence, and the most commonly heard excuse in programming since forever. So picture this, you've spent hours, maybe days, crafting the perfect piece of code. It runs flawlessly on your machine. You're feeling like a coding wizard, maybe even considering changing your LinkedIn title to Code Sorcerer. But then, someone else tries to run it, and bam! It's like your beautiful creation turned into a pumpkin at midnight. So what's going on here? Well, my friends, welcome to the world of environment inconsistencies. It's like the universe's way of reminding you that you're not really in control. Your machine has a specific setup. The operating system, installed software, environment variables, and dependencies that you might not even be aware of. It's like your machine is your loyal pet, and everyone else is just a stranger trying to pet it without knowing its quirks. One of the prime suspects in this drama is dependencies. If your code relies on certain libraries, and your buddy's machine doesn't have those, it's not going to work. It's like trying to bake a cake without flour. Good luck with that. And don't even get me started on version mismatches. You might be running version 2.0 of a library while the rest of the world is chilling with version 1.5. Cue the chaos. Now, let's talk about configuration files. You know those little .env files you thought you could ignore? Yeah, they're pretty important. They hold the secrets to your environment. And if you don't share them, your code is basically speaking a different language. It's like giving someone a recipe but leaving out half the ingredients. Sure, they can guess, but chances are they'll end up with something resembling a science experiment gone wrong. And then there's the operating system. Oh, the glorious war between Windows, macOS, and Linux. What runs perfectly fine on your Windows machine might throw a tantrum on Linux. It's like each OS has its own personality, and they're all divas in their own right. You didn't really think your code was going to run flawlessly everywhere, did you? Oh, sweet summer child. Now don't despair. There are ways to combat this madness. First, containerization is your friend. Docker, for instance, can isolate your application in its own little bubble, making it less dependent on the host machine. It's like giving your code its own little private island where it can sip cocktails and live its best life. Next, use version control and dependencies management tools like Git and NPM. They help ensure everyone's on the same page, or at least the same version. Think of it as a group chat where everyone's actually paying attention for once. And don't forget about documentation. I know, writing docs is about as exciting as watching paint dry. But trust me, future you, and anyone else who tries to run your code, will thank you when they're not tearing their hair out trying to figure out why everything's on fire. Testing in different environments is also key. If you can, test your code on different machines or use virtual machines to simulate different environments. It's like stress testing your code for all the potential chaos it might encounter out there in the big, bad world. So the next time someone tells you, "it works on my machine," just nod knowingly. We've all been there. It's a rite of passage in the programming world. But with a little foresight, some good practices, and maybe a touch of luck, you can reduce the number of times you have to eat those words. Alright folks, that's it for today's adventure in the land of code. Remember, just because it works on your machine doesn't mean it's ready to face the wild. Prepare, document, and test. And when that fails, well, there's always the trusty excuse, "it works on my machine." Thanks for tuning in to Coding Content. As always, keep coding, keep growing, and keep laughing at the absurdity of it all. Until next time.